Welcome back to The Takeout. We end tonight with our latest tribute to CBS News Radio with a clip from more recent history. The beginning of the Gulf War against Iraq and 1991's Operation Desert Storm. Here's CBS News Radio's coverage before the U.S. launched major military action.
Now, direct from CBS News, this special report.
This is Mitchell Krause, CBS News, New York. CBS News has learned that President Bush is planning a major military response to Iraq's invasion of Kuwait. And CBS News reporter Jim Stewart is at the Pentagon. And Jim, what can you tell us about this new Bush administration move?
Major air and ground forces are scheduled to leave for Saudi Arabia late this afternoon, part of a U.S. commitment there to defend that nation from invasion from Iraq.
CBS News Update. I'm Randy Riddle. Disturbing news this morning about the 2,500 Americans trapped in Kuwait. Standing by with a live report now from the State Department, CBS News correspondent Bill Plant.
CBS News has been told that Iraqi military authorities in Kuwait have instructed Americans and all Britons to assemble at various hotels. The Britons have expressed concern that this could mean an interning situation where their nationals would be taken and put away for the duration of the war.
The first shots fired in this Gulf introduction effort came from the fast frigate Reed. It happened at about 4 p.m. today, Gulf time, when the Reed encountered an Iraqi tanker, challenged it by radio. When the tanker would not stop, the commander of the Reed got permission from higher authority to fire warning shots across the tanker's bow. He did so, not one, but 6 of them. The tanker apparently still did not stop. What happened then is not clear.
Israel saw retaliation from Iraq for joining the U.S.-led coalition. In our next clip, you may recognize the voice of current CBS News contributor Robert Berger, who was reporting for CBS at the time from Jerusalem.
Now, from the Oval Office, here is President Bush.
Just 2 hours ago, Allied air forces began an attack on military targets in Iraq and Kuwait. These attacks continue as I speak.
And this is Doug Poling, CBS News New York, with continuing coverage of the Persian Gulf War on the CBS radio network. Robert Berger in Jerusalem, our reporter there. Robert, are you there on the phone?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? I'm speaking through a gas mask.
Yes, I can. Tell us what's happening.
Well, there has been an announcement on the radio that Israel has indeed come under a missile attack. Residents have been advised to put on their gas masks. I'm here in the room with my family. We're wearing gas masks. My 2 little girls are in enclosed tent kind of things. My wife and my mother-in-law and I are all wearing gas masks.
I am at an air base in eastern Saudi Arabia. We are now under attack. There have been incoming explosions at this base over the last several. The air raid sirens are on. Just a few minutes ago, the sirens sounded briefly, and we began hearing explosions in several places here on the base. There were at least a half dozen explosions and the sounds of jet engines overhead.
That was another familiar voice, Scott Pelley. The closer we get to today, you may start to recognize these radio voices a little more. Now, as the U.S. made advances in Kuwait, Iraqi forces withdrew and set fire to oil wells there. Here's how they were described.
From this ship at this moment, looking towards Kuwait, I can see the entire coastline on fire. I have counted nearly 40 separate huge columns of flames and smoke rising thousands of feet above the shoreline, and beyond them the night sky glows with many, many more. It looks tonight as if all Kuwait is ablaze.
At 9 o'clock yesterday morning, there was bombardment from every direction, from a warship, presumably the Wisconsin or the Missouri out in the Gulf, from artillery and overhead from bombers. And under that cover, the tanks that had arrived from the west moved up along the sand wall, the 12-foot sand wall that's a mile from us along the border, and moved into position. So the front moved up. We, at first light this morning, can't see them. We don't know if they're still there. We don't know if they've moved over the night. But one thing we can tell you is that the bombardment last night, and it continues to this moment, has been exceedingly heavy, heavier than anything we have heard.
Iraq's occupation of Kuwait officially ended in February of 1991, bringing a celebration from the U.S., its allies, and residents of Kuwait.
People streamed into the streets, men, women, children by the thousands, screaming with joy. Resistance fighters and the Allied troops who entered the city at mid-morning, firing their weapons jubilantly into the air. The throngs carried hundreds of the black, white, red, and green Kuwaiti flags, waving them with abandon.